Hello everybody, welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today we are playing with inks. I had just completed a quick experiment taking the brown ink and applying it as a wash, drying it off, and then applying the black ink on top of that. So it's just a quick gestural experiment. I'm happy with the kind of overall look and feel of it. So I'm going to do something a little bit more in depth. Most likely just a memory-based thing off of one of the paintings that I've been looking at by, I'll try to pronounce it, I believe it's a Danish painter from the 1800s, Christian Kobke, K-O-B-K-E. I had done some time-lapse sketches in pen and ink with the fountain pen, and I figure this might be great for that feel of his work. So brown ink, this is the Dr. P.H. Martin's, applied with a hake brush. This is just a Princeton hake brush. Now I'm going to pause the camera to do a quick dry off. Okay, now we're dried off. Just put out a little bit more of that brown ink. I'm going to grab the squirrel mop, a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, a bit more black. That's a lot of black. More brown going in there. Back down. Grab some. I haven't played with ink in a while. There we go. Just gonna play back and forth. I already feel like it's a little too stark. Going for that drab autumn feel. Horizon line. I can play with feeding some colors in. Excuse me. Clouds. Field. Closer. Field. Some trees. So we're going wet and wet now. I'm going to bring it down to the edge, even though a mat would cover that. What if we could scrape ink? If I could find my scraping tool. There we go. Yeah, we can. Scraping. Almost pure black ink. I'm going to go for one of those very characteristic trees. I don't know if you could hear it, but this paper is very satisfying to brush against. There's very nice sound. Let's do a little. It's catching that rough paper. We haven't done any dry off since the brown ink. I have a hard time flattening this paper. There we go. Need a lot more water. My way back here. I've fed some trees in, but they really didn't show through. So there we go. Looks a lot better now. And the painting that I'm drawing influence from, like mentally, it has a castle, the Frederick Castle I think it was called, in the background. I don't know if we can get it in there. Just not adept with this brush or the material. So I'm going to switch it up and grab the #1 rigger and play around with this. And I'll be honest, I poured out way too much ink initially, and a part of me is just like, I don't want to waste the ink, which is definitely not the best mindset. I always mention how I began my watercolor journey with the Chinese landscape painting and the flower painting, and I read books and watch videos and all that. You know, there's a lot of interesting information out there, and there's this one scroll. There's a lot of landscape paintings were done in scroll form, where you'd unravel one side and roll up the other side as you read it. And there was one that had used copious amounts of a mineral pigment, like a really, I guess, expensive, beautiful mineral pigment. And I think there wasn't much known about the artist. I think it was a young artist, you know, from a couple hundred years ago, that had, I think, died at a young age. And the person talking about the scroll had said that it was often, there's a certain point in the scroll where you would unroll it and it looks worn, and then it would look fresh, where I guess people would get to the point where they get kind of bored with the scroll and then just go back in reverse with it. So I think it was a testament to, even though expensive pigments were used, that that didn't mean it was a great painting, or people didn't particularly enjoy it, maybe during that time period. I feel like the base of this trunk is a little too big, so I think I'm going to overlap another trunk. Another closer tree. We'll see if that helps and how it affects it. In fact, now we can kind of deviate from the original structure and play around. So even though I did pour out excessive ink, and I don't want it to go to waste, but you wind up doing too much, it just becomes blah. However, this is allowing me to freely use it and not stress out. And it lets me experiment with another layer of trees. I do like groups of upright trees, like very close together. I don't know what type of trees that would be. Should cast a little shadow. But overall, a fun combination. The brown ink and the black ink. We used two brushes on this one. We used the rigger, a thin pointed brush, and we used the squirrel mop, which, if you are light-handed, I'm sure you can get thin lines with the squirrel mop. And I think I want to get a tree coming in off the side here. Or you could potentially use the Chinese bamboo brush or the likes. I've seen video where people can get a lot of line variation out of it. So for minimal investment, it's a pretty interesting experiment, and potentially a style you might enjoy painting in or sketching in. And of course, people are always looking for easy ways, minimalist palettes, to go out and about and sketch on location. So this might be a viable option. Kind of like the burnt umber only sketches might be helpful. And it's affordable too. I'd say squirrel mop or a good brush, a Chinese brush or a squirrel mop, let's say between $10 to $20. A rigger brush, depending on where you get it, let's say $5 to $15. You can get like a Hobby Lobby brand for $5 or something like that. House brand for $5. The ink, let's say $10. And this guy is $6, but I think you get it cheaper, probably $4 from Blick or Jerry's Artorama. Let me pause it and we'll dry it off and see how it looks with a mat. I gotta say, that was a very satisfying experiment. And of course, you're always welcome to follow along with any of these. And you're always welcome to sign your own name, sell anything that you do from any of these videos. You have my express permission. I want you guys to be successful. Art supplies are expensive. Look for a place to write my name where I can actually fit it. And yeah, and that being said, if you ever want to support this channel or support with art supplies, I have the Patreon down below with exclusive content, so please consider checking that out. Of course, liking and subscribing helps. This paper is a little bit bigger than this opening, so you kind of play around with it. But yeah, I will be back soon with more experiments and more painting and more demos. Questions, comments, leave them down below, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye.